Welcome back, everybody, to Open Water.
Hi. Hello. Hola.
If you're just tuning in, I'm Nashla.
I'm Emily.
You won't know my name. I'm just kidding. I'm Diana.
Fucking weirdo.
I don't know what episode is this now. This is 17.
I have
this
no
is 17.
idea. I have no idea
Since
what episode.
I met them at 17.
I thought it was 18.
No, we just did 16.
It would have been, but we missed a week.
Well, we just took a break, which
we had a bye
needed a
week.
mental break.
We had a bye week, okay? Yeah, that was a good week.
Yeah, but episode 17. It's all about consistency, you know. To all the listeners who do listen and watch, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
we
you
really
very
appreciate
much.
it.
Fuck you.
Thank you for not leaving us yet.
Please don't listen to Diana if this is your first episode. I'm so sorry that she's
Yeah.
a bitch.
Don't listen to her. She's
A fucking bitch.
The littiest bitch here.
Are you? Don't know about that one.
All right. So,
So how was everybody's week?
I mean, it just started.
Yeah, but last week was good.
I'm just kidding. No, it's Friday, bitch.
I
know,
really
but-
like when you do that. Like, I really just want to come across the jaw sometimes. Like,
I'm pretty sure most people understand that you pre-record things. So I'm gonna talk about. Last week was a good week for me. Honestly, it really was. I hope by Friday, I am having a great week. But I think I will. I have my whole week planned out. I'm gonna stick to it. I am becoming an adult finally, like budgeting and like getting my life together, like getting all my debt into one thing and being like, okay, I can pay this off in a year. Like, okay, I got this. And like now, like just getting that little cushion, like, cause how do I explain it? Like, if you get that little cushion, then your income, you're able to like,
Well, yeah, everyone should
balance
always
out.
have money saved up. Like, that was the one thing my stepdad told me. It's like, make sure you have like at least 1 month, 2 months rent and some bills saved up. Like, you never know what's gonna happen.
I just hit 1,000 saving.
so
I was like, yes, I have 1,000.
From every
I'm
like financial guru, they always say that you want at least 6 months of all of like
Yeah.
your bills and your rent like
I've
saved
heard
up.
that, but who can
And
do
I'm just
that?
like, who the fuck can do that?
Exactly. Like,
How much money do you think we have?
Maybe if you up the minimum wage or like,
We were just talking about this today. Our generation was literally dealt the shittiest hand ever in poker. They gave us the financial housing crisis, just student loans and like college expenses, cost of living in general now. Like, we have to deal with all of this while making no money. And they're looking at us like, why can't you save money?
because
I
I
have
have
no
no
money.
opportunity to save because every single cent
Just
goes
because
right out
your
the
college
window.
costs $5,000 for all 4 years, like, shut the fuck up, please. Like, my mom went to school. I think her college was
Yeah,
15
tuition used
grand.
to be really, really low.
Maybe 20 grand for her all 4 years.
Yeah, tuition used to
Maybe.
be so fucking cheap.
But then
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure
so-
she played a sport and she got a scholarship. Like, scholarships are so easy to come back. Like, it was just
No.
shit
when,
is just fucked
when
up
my grandma
now.
was when she was young lad, or is it last? Whatever. When she was a little girl, she would
Last.
tell me that deodorant cost like 5 cents. Mind you, she was born in like the 50s.
Yeah,
She lived in
that's
Puerto
the
Rico,
thing.
so I'm
Yeah,
like 5 cents.
I
What?
get it. I understand that concept of like back then, like obviously 15 grand, 20 grand was a lot of money, but our parents were able to pay it.
It's just insane to me that I remember candy bars being like 35, 45 cents a candy bar, and now they're like $1 something, and they're the same size. Nothing's changed. Has the
Nothing has
minimum wage
changed. been
been going up?
No, it has not.
No. So you can't blame inflation on a minimum wage. Like, because I was reading this thing, there are multiple things, like 3 different types of inflation.
I feel like
that
it stems back from Reaganomics. Like, he fucked the economy.
What? Oh, I thought you said the
Reaganomics.
hyme.
Reaganomics.
Like hymen. I
What?
thought you were saying something about the hymen for a second. Either way, it was this. What's that fucking congressman? The one who's like all in the news right now. He was supposed to be the rising star for conservatives, but he's like apparently a sexual assault creep. I can't remember his name. Madison Cawthorn or some shit like that.
I wouldn't
don't know. Apparently, he lied about everything, like that car accident that put him in the wheelchair, like every fucking thing he just lied about, and they're like, I think the Washington Post and New York Times were like, you lied here.
That's not. I mean, are you surprised? Because I'm not.
No.
But I am surprised because I feel like like when you're running for office and like you're in the eye, like deep background checks are ran to make sure that you can either keep your story straight or it's hidden enough that no one can find out. So I'm like, who the fuck was in your political office that fucked this whole thing up? Because politicians are very good at hiding shit.
Like,
look at Brett Kavanaugh. He didn't get, well, I mean, she had to get courage to speak up, and once she was like, you're becoming a Supreme Court justice, I'm fucking saying some shit. But still, look what happened with that.
That's why the girls
he still ended up
getting whatever anyway. I mean, the news about him being a creep has been out since before he got elected.
Oh, so people
he's
like
like 44. He's the
heard
youngest. He's the youngest person ever elected to Congress. He's 24, maybe 25 now. And yeah, it's been out. Like, girls warned each other about him when they went to college with him. They're like, don't get in a car with him. He's just gonna keep trying and just be annoying about it and creepy.
Can you please look this up? Because I want to know who this person is.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't have.
Oh yeah. Whoops. I'm pretty sure.
I have no passwords. So
and that is.
Like, I have no idea.
Madison Cawthorn.
Okay. I want to see what he looks like.
he looks like a creep.
Yeah, he kind of does.
He had said
He looks super rapey.
He said something about freaking
rapey.
that the minimum wage was going to
he's
drive
an August
inflation
Leo.
up.
Oh, disgusting.
What city did he represent? Like what district?
Somewhere in North Carolina.
I'm pretty sure it's House of Representatives, right?
Yeah, it's Congressman.
He was born in...
Yeah, but congressman can mean senator or representative.
He was born in North Carolina, so 11th Congressional District.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he looks super rapey, so like, whatever.
So people in North Carolina, the constituents, still voted for this man, even though he had accusations and multiple women. Multiple women are saying it.
They don't care.
But that's crazy to me that women really, like, that's what baffles me about humans.
Like, I forgot which Senate race. It was one of the southern states. Remember, like, I think he ended up getting voted out. This was a couple, like 4 years ago maybe. This old guy, or he got reelected. But he had been accused of rape, like all of these sexual harassment. It was like right around the Me Too. And he got accused of all this shit, and I'm pretty sure they still reelected him.
Okay,
I gotta look up his name. I think a senator from Alabama.
Look at Trump? Like, he's already had these allegations before he
became
even
president.
became president, and then he still became president.
So literally,
the Republican Party does not care.
I mean, political parties in general.
People,
because even look at the Democratic side.
Yeah, you're right.
It's literally all they care about is their career and possibly it's their career, because anything that influences their decisions, their voting decisions, is because they're scratching someone else's back so they can get their back scratched. So it's not even. I don't know. It's all fucked and ass backwards. So moving on from that.
My stimmy hit. What, bitch? Stimmy hit that bank account.
My stimmy didn't hit, but I worked this weekend and I'm like socially drained. Like, I'm just so tired.
Yeah, but I mean, aren't you happy? I mean, no, you're not happy. It was busy, but. It's like the things that if you're going to be at work, you might as well.
No, like, I hate Pi Day. I wish that Pi Day just falls off the face of the earth. Because it's a stupid day.
I'm not gonna hold you. Every time people called, I didn't realize until like maybe last week that we were doing something for Pi Day. I told them that we weren't. I told multiple people. This guy's like, "What are the specials?" I was like, "None." He's like, "It's my birthday." I was like, "I mean, show them your ID, and I'm pretty sure they'll give you a free pizza, but we're not doing anything."
No, it's like it wouldn't be so bad, but some guy decided to order 22 large deeps. At 6:00, he wanted a 6:15 pickup.
Excuse me?
And it was just like,
wait, hold on.
He ordered it at 6.
No. He ordered it. He pre-ordered at 4:00.
Oh. Okay.
And I told one of the kitchen managers, I'm like, listen, there's 22 pizzas coming up for 6:15 pickup. Like, do you want me to print out the receipt? He's like, nah. And I knew that I should have. Because, like, I know better. Yeah. But I didn't do it. But, I mean, it's Pi Day. Like, you need to expect that shit's going to be taking a long time, because motherfuckers like to come up there and take that buy one, get one for $3.14 bullshit promo code and shove it up their ass.
They also like to come in right before we close, because I'm pretty positive that last table that came in like 2 minutes before we closed on Saturday, that was the one I told on the phone. He was like, so if I get there by 8, it'll be fine. I was like, no, we close at 8. Like, you can stay for a little bit afterwards, but like, I'm not sitting around here. And he's like, so what time do I need to be there by? I was like, you need to have your order
7 o'clock
before 8. I recommend getting here by 7:45.
You need to come tomorrow.
I was like, bro.
How about you plan to come visit a restaurant another fucking day?
Not 2 minutes before they close.
Come tomorrow.
When I saw that, I was like,
at least he tipped for his bill, though.
As he should.
Because like the other table that had stayed there, they left right before them. They didn't tip that good. And I was like, you piece of shit. I don't think they tipped at all, actually. I was very upset.
Motherfuckers.
And then
I wasted my goddamn time.
I like literally, that is the thing that blows me the most. Like, why would you go into a place right before they close, especially a restaurant, to sit down and eat? You're not even able to enjoy yourself.
You're not.
Like,
because I would just feel so anxious and like, oh my god, I'm holding these people up. Like, I can't even enjoy my food. Like, just order it to go.
You also have petty people like me and you, where we'll start cleaning the dining room.
Fuck yeah.
Like, and
music off, lights low. Your only table lit is your fucking table. You're gonna eat in the fucking dark.
No
turn
music.
the lights all the way up.
I know. I was just being
turn the volume down. Then I'll turn the lights off at the bar though.
Mm-hmm.
And
some lights are going on.
And then just stand there in eyesight of them and
just not doing anything.
Yeah,
just
stare at them.
I literally, that's what I do. I'll go there and I'll just sit there. I'm like, I got nothing to fucking do.
I'm waiting on you. The reason why I literally holding me up. Establishment of work that I've been here all day is because of you. Because you want to come in 2 minutes before we close.
You're holding me up, which is holding the managers up, which is holding everybody else up. Like, and the kitchen staff, because they still have to clean your shit.
Yeah, I had to keep telling them. I was like, bro, I got 5 tables left. I'm sorry. Because he's like, you got any tables left anymore? I was like, yeah, man. He's like, for real? And this was like 7:45, almost 8. And I was like, yeah, we're going to be here a while. I'm sorry.
It was bad. This week was very draining to me, and I need like quiet time with myself.
I understand that. I get that. And you should take that and really sit down and I think really think about things. Mm-hmm. It's a lot. Being a fucking adult is the worst.
I hate it.
Why did I sign up for this?
No, it's funny because like I was talking to you the other day, and I don't know if I mentioned
your mom
to you or my sister,
up for it,
but like if you asked like if it felt different to be an adult or a kid, and I was like, oh, that was really. There's some extra responsibilities, but I feel like for the most part, not much has changed, and I'm like, is this what being a fucking adult is like? Like, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know if it's just
this is the question I asked her. I said, would you rather have the freedom of, like, no responsibilities that you have as a kid/teenager, or the freedom to do what the fuck you want as an adult, but you have bills now and you have to take care of yourself? Am I
basing this off of my childhood?
No, just a general thing.
Because I'm gonna be like, I had all the freedom I wanted.
And she was saying like, do you know what type of life I grew up in? Like, why would I want to have that? I'm like, okay, I get that, but like, imagine
not
if you
even
had
in that life. I'm just like, I don't really know, because like, as a child, I felt this sense of responsibility. Yeah, really
you had a
young.
sense of responsibility. Yeah.
So I never really got that experience of just doing whatever the fuck I wanted, not worrying about shit.
I still had the sense of responsibility, but I still did whatever I wanted because my mom was always at work and my grandma didn't give a fuck about me because I didn't have a penis. She was only worried about the boys.
Yeah.
So as a child, I was low-key an adult without a job.
Yeah, so imagine that. Would you rather have that? But, the stipulation was that you have parents and they tell you
they love
to
me?
come. Yeah, they love you.
Are they supportive parents?
Yes, but
then I would rather be a child.
But they make you like come home at a time like you don't have the freedom to just do whatever you want. That's what it was. Because as an adult, you have the freedom to do whatever the fuck you want. But as a child, in all reality, realistically, you shouldn't have the freedom to do whatever you want. Like,
so I can either be an adult with all of the bills and, freedom, or I have
a child in a healthy environment.
I'm picking being a child in a healthy environment with loving parents
and with stability.
Yes,
forever.
I'm picking what I never had. Because
I would say you need to be very specific about it because I'm going based off of my own experience.
I never had that, so I want it.
It literally feels the same to me.
Just I'm getting older.
I mean, because I feel like I didn't have worries growing up. I didn't realize we were. I didn't realize. Only worry I really had was my dad's a piece of shit. That's probably about it. But other than that, I didn't know how much my mom struggled till I probably got to like late high school when I started to apply for college. And I was like, whoa, wait, what? And I didn't realize. And in my head, I'm like,
I was 4 years old when I was like, okay.
Like now realizing how much my mom struggled, I'm like, yo. And that's what I think going into college with that mindset, I was just, oh my God. Like, damn, this shit's crazy.
You were very fortunate to not know that she was struggling.
Yeah, my mom did an amazing job. I love you, Brenda. You the best, bitch.
You did what you could, Myra.
I think that's the problem why I struggle as an adult, just because
good job.
There was
A for effort.
Enmeshment. Like, you know, like you shouldn't be your kids shouldn't know, I don't think, about your financial struggles, or they shouldn't feel like it's their responsibility.
I never knew about bless you, my mom's financial struggles, but you know, it was very clear when we're constantly moving and we're in and out of shelters. Like at that point, you know that you're poor.
Yeah, no, my mom told me everything. Ooh. So I knew when my dad drained the account for the money, and then after that, it was no electricity or no gas. The longest I didn't have a utility was the water, and that one is awful. Like it breaks my heart to know that there are people in America that don't have running water.
Yeah.
Like that is one of the most ridiculous things in the fucking world to me. Like 6 months no running water, I swear to God, the way that it affected me, I went from decent grades to like almost failing everything. Like I almost failed freshman year because I was just so stressed out thinking about shit. And I'm like, I shouldn't be stressed out about bills and shit like that when I'm a fucking 14-year-old, 15 years old. Like I don't have any ability to even get a job legally at this point.
You're absolutely
but
right.
I felt responsible that I had to do what I could since I was very, very young. And I was just like,
you know, that explains a lot more for me of you, because, you know, recently we've both been talking about finances, and you were like sort of stressing like what, a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, and I was like, in my head I'm like, but Diana, you're in our reality, yes, you're not at where you want to be, but like you're doing good for a single woman in this pandemic at that. Like you're doing fine, but I see where your stress comes from
the money.
No matter what, you're going to always stress about money. When I'm like, you're in all reality, you're doing great for a single woman.
I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, I have money saved, like, and it's not just a little bit of money, but I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I need more money. I need more money. And I'm like, it never ends. I can't even buy clothes for myself because I'm like, I can't spend that money. Even though I have plenty of money to spend on clothes.
It doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter how much money you have. If you always feel like you never had any money, you're going to hoard it. And I do the same thing. Like, Jessica's always telling me, she's like, just buy it. And I'm like, no, like, I'm going to wait until like I can get it for a cheaper price or like something, or like I'll never end up buying it, because I always talk myself out of it, because in my mind, if I buy something that I want, then I should have, and then something's going to happen where the money that I spent on what I wanted, I should have spent it on what I needed.
Yeah, that's literally what I'm thinking about today.
Like if I buy myself, like, I don't know, some fucking shit that I don't need, like my phone bill is gonna be like, oh, $500. Oh, I shouldn't have spent it on this. Like now I have no money for my phone bill, like shit like that. So I never end up buying anything. And Jessica calls me Scrooge McDuck.
Hey, but I understand that though. I think like my brother and his wife, they have so much money saved, and because they lived like they didn't have money, and that's why, like, I remember like my sister-in-law one Christmas was like, wait, you get your nails done every 2 to 3 weeks, you pay this much money, and I'm like, yeah, and she's like, why the fuck would you do that? She's like, I get my nails done probably like once every 4 to 5 months. It's like a treat to myself. And I was like, oh, I mean, Allie, I just like it.
Well, everybody is different. We all have, you know, where we have to spend our money.
But like,
on.
she's like, they've just always been very, very frugal, and now they're, I mean, they're doing amazing. And I'm just like, that's what I want to be. I want to be at that level to where I'm shopping at thrift stores, shopping at like maybe like consignment shops, like just being very no corporation besides, I guess, grocery stores. That's the only fucking thing that I really have to be corporate about.
The farmers market.
Yeah, but I hate being around people.
Like little local grocery stores.
Not
like
I
have a lot. I have a lot around me. There's this one that I like to go to. They're a little bit expensive, but like everything on the shelves is so aesthetically pleasing. Like it's so nice. I literally just like walking through the aisles.
Like I like Trader Joe's out of all the like grocery chains. Trader Joe's is probably my favorite. I just don't go to a lot of time because Giant and Food Lion are just right there in my house.
I do like me some Food Lion.
Yeah, that's nice. But yes,
nice.
Becoming an adult is a very fun thing. But
it's not. But all right.
No, I think once I believe if you are able to stable yourself and not have to really go through the things that most people go through, which is like dealing with not being able to get a job, dealing with not making enough money, which is most Americans, especially people our age.
So to be white and affluent.
Yeah, but I mean, to be a black woman now doing this, I'm like, okay, but the things that I have a supportive mom who let me move back in to get my shit together, and you know, I'm afforded that luxury, and that's why I'm very grateful for, and that's why I look at my situation and I'm just like, all right, I have this amazing situation. I need to fucking use it. Mm-hmm. Like I need to stop playing around. I need to stop being stupid and really use it because I can. It's capable. It's something that I can do. Mm-hmm. Because I have to be an adult. Like I'm by the time I'm 29 next year, I have to be living on my own again for the third time now. Third time moving back and forth. And now I'm going to finally be leaving my mother's house for the third time. And
after I broke up my ex, my mom was like, why don't you move back home? And I was like, no.
I mean, that's what I did. After I broke up with my ex, that's when I moved back home.
I really would have liked to, but at the same time,
I did the same thing.
Don't want to move back. I couldn't move back there. Like, I could not do York County.
That's it. That environment, fuck no, I could never do that. I'm grateful my mom, we live in this area.
I could not do that shit.
Man, I don't know. It's crazy.
If my mom wasn't in the area, I probably would end up moving to like Florida or something with my friend. But
I don't know what I
moved in with my mom at 20 something for the last time.
And I'm praying that this will be the last time that I.
But if I ever have to move into somebody's house, it's gonna be just the mama house. Because I'm not going to Roanoke. Abso-fucking-lutely not.
No. All right, nasty.
Croatoan.
Nice little introduction. That was a long introduction, but topic is
all right, race.
Okay.
And then it has Hispanic versus Latino, what makes you black, white, Hispanic, Asian, racial slurs, Afro-Latino, Afro-Asian, style, cultural appropriation, and then Asian versus Oriental. I heard that was a slur.
Yeah, it's a colonial term, and, you know, they were dicks. So, like, I remember I was probably, like, 16, and I referred to myself as Oriental, and then my coworker, my friend, she was like, we're not rugs. She's like, we're not a thing. We're Asian. Or I'm Chinese, you're Korean. Like, we're not Oriental, though. And I was
so like, do you just be, like, Asian with, like, Korean, Japanese, like, all of those if you don't know exactly what country they're from? Or just, like, Far East Asian?
I try to be regional because Asia's a very big continent. We don't look alike at all. Like, there's East Asian. You have your Northeast Asian, I should say, and that's, you know, us, like Chinese, Japanese, Koreans. You have your Southeast Asians, you know, Vietnamese, Thai. You have your South Asians, Bangladesh, India. Then you have your West Asians, which is, you know, they could be Persian, they could be Arab. Like, it's a whole...
Like Afghanistan,
Iraq, even Pakistan. Yeah,
okay.
All of that is
I knew all of that.
So, like...
Isn't Russia in Asia? Or is
Russia's part of it, too. Like...
But they're considered Russian because they're white.
What they're still.
It's funny if you look at some of them though, depending on where it is, you can see where the Mongols came through because of their eyes. Like I get asked a lot if I'm Uzbekistan, like from my family's from Uzbekistan, because they look like me. They look Eurasian. Like they have the eyes, but they might have like freckles, red hair, blonde hair, something like that. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
I love me some red hair.
Okay, so Diana, what do you identify as? Like, when people ask you what's your race, ethnicity, what do you say?
For the most part, I tell people I'm just half white, half Korean, because I don't like getting into the discussion of saying that I'm half Jewish, half Korean, because a lot of people, which I understand, it's really a lack of knowledge, like that they don't understand, like it's a ethnicity or it's just a religion. And then you have the argument on who quantifies as a Jew as well. Like technically, I would not be considered a Jew if you go by conservative standards, because my mom's not Jewish. It has to do with when you're born. It's when you're born. I think the blood from the mother, she has to be Jewish or something like that. It has to do with that. But for when I was talking to my grandma a couple years ago, we were talking about, she's like, I go to the synagogue, but I don't really believe it anymore. Like I do it out of habit. She's like, I feel Jewish, but I don't believe, like I'm more spiritual. I don't believe in like a religion. And I was like, that's the same way that I kind of feel. Like our family, like, I know for sure that my dad's grandfather's family, they came from Lithuania, but that's it. I'm like, I don't know that much else about my grandma's side at all. She doesn't know. Like around that time, a lot of Jews came from Eastern Europe because they were killing them, basically. And that was when my family, like both sides on my, it was my great-grandmother's parents came, and then my grandfather's parents came. And I'm like, when my grandfather's family came, it was 2 adults and like 5 kids. And they came all the way from Lithuania over here. I'm like, that shit's not expensive. That shit's not cheap. It's not easy. And I'm like, so a lot of people don't understand like how deep it is. Like they were literally just chased out of their own homes and changed their names so no one could tell they were Jewish. They changed their name.
Do you know what your family's name was before it was changed?
No, because they signed in at Ellis Island as Moore. So I can't find any records before that. I would have to find the original ship that they left on from Lithuania, or that's even if they left on a ship and not on a train. So I've tried, but I don't think I'll ever be able to find out what their last name actually was, because like my dad was like, our last name's not Moore. And I'm like, really? And then like as I got older, I was like, well, that makes sense, because all the Moores I know, they're from Scotland, they're from England, Ireland. But I did the 23andMe test, it said Ashkenazi Jew 50% Korean. And but anyway, going back to like how I identify, the whole reason I personally believe Jewishness can be an ethnicity is because of the anti-Jewishness that went on.
You're going to have to explain that to me, because I don't understand.
Okay. So,
and I don't want to sound stupid, but I also don't really care that much to like look it up myself.
Yeah. The reason, honestly, the whole reason I looked it up is like I wanted to be able to like explain to people why I'm like, yeah, I'm Jewish. Like, this is why I say that I'm Jewish. On top of the fact that I got the results that only told me I was Jewish. I was nothing else. And I was like,
it's not even like you're Scottish, Irish, like
no, I am
English.
50% Jew.
I had some Jewish in my 23andMe too.
For real?
But I have like shit from all over the world. Like it's like,
I mean, Puerto Rico's an island, and I feel like
so many people,
I know that.
That's like Filipinos. Like so many people pass through there. Like you get mixed.
I know a lot of people think that I'm Filipino, but like I have like a little bit from every like continent except for Australia and Antarctica.
Oh yes,
yes.
Anyways, continue.
So the whole Jewish as an identity thing, it goes back to Roman times. When the whole Christian faith, well, it started with Catholicism, and Catholicism is still Christian too. That's another thing. A lot of people separate them in their minds for whatever reason.
It always starts with the Christians.
But it literally was created, Christianity, let me start off with the Romans borrowed from everyone else. Even when it came to like the pagan gods with Greek mythology, they borrowed it from the Greeks. Diana is Artemis. Like they literally, all of their gods are based off of Greek gods. So when they made the switch to Christianity, basically it was already a religion, because after Jesus came, it became like a different religion. But it basically it's built off of Judaism and Islam as well. And you know that was a way to control people. That was how they control people. Jews, they're outliers. They can be blamed for killing God. Like that's like deicide or whatever the fuck it's called. So that they're the ones that can be the scapegoats. And it started off way back then. You know, they're the reason for this. They're the reason for this. Blah blah blah. They want to be able to control people. And because they weren't able to control them, they're like, well, then we're going to make you guys the scapegoats, the one that we can blame when anything goes wrong. And that's how that shit started. And they would purposely, like, either put them in ghettos or just move them or not allow them in certain areas or not allowed to marry certain people. That it became, they stayed within their own community. And literally from a couple hundred women created, I don't even know how many millions of us, like 15 million, 20 million of us now in this world. From over a millennia, and it just happened over and over and over again. They kept getting we started off northern Italy, Germany, Austria, and then we just kept getting pushed further and further. That's why you get a lot of like Eastern European Jews, because they just kept getting pushed further and further away, and until finally early 1900s, it was all that anti-Jewish laws, like all of it, like people were dying, all this crazy shit was happening. A lot of them just left Europe completely, and they went to either England or most of them came to America. And yeah, so that's how you have it today. And it was just like years and years and years and years of anti-Jewish laws, and that's why they just literally ended up creating their own ethnic group, because they only married from the same group of people.
I mean, I feel like that's like the same thing when people.
So that makes sense. Now that you've explained it to me, it makes sense. But no one can ever explain it to me.
It's like when people say that being black isn't a culture, and it's like, but you brought us to this country and then pushed us all into a thing, so we had to be with each other. It's like Jewish people that all were put into a thing, so it's like we're Jewish. And I'm like, I'm black. It's like I'm not African American. I'm black. Yeah, like I see why people say that. Yeah,
the whole diaspora.
That's why they're like, I'm not white. I'm Jewish.
I still think Jews are white. Or not every Jew either. Not every Jew either is white.
But you know how Jews be like, what are you? Like, oh, I'm Jewish. And we're like, oh, well then they're like, yeah, I'm white. But like they automatically go with Jewish. Most
that's
white people go with I'm white. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Definitely agree with that. Like, I don't know. It's interesting though too, because like a lot of people. This started off when I was really, really, really young. Like I remember I was in first grade, second grade maybe, and this kid told me that I couldn't be Jewish. Like,
oh, because you're Korean?
He said it was a religion or something. Oh, it was because I was trying to celebrate Passover and Christmas. He said I couldn't do both. He's like, you have to choose, and I was like, why? But my family celebrates both.
I feel like you can do both.
I feel like
I hate it when people be like, you have to choose.
Yeah, and even with like the way I self-identify, people don't think I'm from back home. Mainly this is people from back home. I'm not technically American, and I'm like, why? Because you're Asian. That was the answer. And I'm like, so what's you have to be white?
What is the term to be American then? That's what I'm saying.
So, but even that implies though that I'm not on the same level as them because I'm not white. And I'm like, how can people deny that racism exists when you don't even see me as being the same as you, even though I was born in America?
And you're technically the same skin tone as them.
Yeah.
You just have different facial features. But since you're different, you're not right.
God. The fucking people that love to stare. That's why I don't like when people stare at me now. Like, I remember I was at, I don't even know, some Diet Next Monday event. Huh?
I stare back at this point.
Yeah. Like, I say, hey, how are you?
I know. I remember you did that in the car when the lady put up, was just like,
hello, what's up?
Yeah, I get angry when people stare a lot. I get really self-conscious and angry because I'm like, why the fuck are they staring? And yeah, my Danielle was like, you need to chill. They probably just think you're pretty, like you're gorgeous. And this lady actually ended up coming up to me and was like, you're really pretty, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, okay, thank you. But I was like freaking out because I'm like, why the fuck is everyone staring at me? And it's so bad that that's triggering still. And I'm like... And then you got all the shit that's happening right now. And I'm like, I haven't felt that way since like that time I told you that girl was like driving next to us in her car. And I was like, why the fuck is this car following me? And I saw it was a girl and I felt a little bit safer. And then she shouted what she did. I'm like, you fucking bitch.
Fucking cunty ass whore.
You a cunt, you a whore, you a bitch.
I just hate having to look over my shoulder.
Yeah, I get it.
Or feeling like I have to look over my shoulder. Like
that's why I don't leave the house.
I mean, as a woman, we already have that feeling.
Yeah.
No matter what. Then you throw in your race on top of it.
I don't leave the house. I lock all the doors. I'm glad that these whores be barking when motherfuckers be coming up to the house.
That is true. Dogs are good at the fucking alarm system. They're amazing. All right, Nasty. I feel like your identity is mine is simple. So y'all are the ones that are complicated.
Because you got like because you have the different layers of racism layered in with it to delegitimize ourselves.
All right, so growing up, I told you guys all before, I was always told that we were Puerto Rican. That was our race, our ethnicity, our skin tone, our blood type, like everything was Puerto Rican. Yeah. And then growing up, I realized that that's not the case. And then I was introduced to Latino and Hispanic, and those do not mean the same thing, although one person can be both. Mm-hmm. And then then race got thrown into it, and then I'm asking my mom what we are, and she's still telling me we're Puerto Rican. I'm like, no, but like, okay. I'm still having issues with identifying as a race because although I would be an Afro-Latina, I can't necessarily identify with Black people in America, but I also can't identify with Black people in Latin America. Because I wasn't raised in Puerto Rico. I was raised in America, so I can relate to the Black culture, but I'm still not Black enough for the Black culture. And because I was not raised in Puerto Rico,
you or
society.
Okay.
But and then because I wasn't born or raised in Puerto Rico, I am not Puerto Rican enough, let alone like they're already like anti-Black in the whole Latin America, so like there's that too.
Yeah.
So like I feel like I don't really belong anywhere, so I just be here.
I mean, in all reality, your nationality, ethnicity is Puerto Rican, and I would say your race.
My nationality is
Puerto Rican.
Is American.
Oh yeah, you're born in America.
My nationality
is born in Pennsylvania. What do you mean?
She's American.
I am an American. My ethnicity or my nationality is American. My ethnicity is Puerto Rican. My race is questionable.
I would say if I'm gonna say your race would be Black in all reality because you're not white.
Or you could be mixed.
Oh, I don't know. I thought it was just biracial, right?
No, it's just mixed.
It's mixed.
Yeah,
because
that's another thing. That's another thing actually that I used to really would make me uncomfortable because I didn't know how to answer it. It would only be Caucasian, white, Asian, or Black,
and then you weren't allowed to like choose.
Or other, and then it would give you other.
Since it was other,
I hated other.
I would always choose other.
I hated
like
other,
everything was other or like mixed or like something like that because looking at my mother, like if before she opens her mouth, you would never know that like she is of Hispanic descent. But my father, like he looks like he is like native and white mixed. Like that's what he looks like to me. And then my mom just looks like, you know, a little spicy little Black lady.
I mean, a lot of Hispanic people look like Native Americans. They have very strong Native American genes.
Yeah, that's because they mixed in over the years.
I think a lot of them like leave and go down south to like the Hispanic countries. And
I don't know. I can't speak on other Hispanic countries.
I get confused for Guatemalan and Honduran a lot.
They do have like milky white skin like you.
Yeah, and I was like, I think I explained to you. I don't remember who I explained it to. I was like. It's if they mixed in with natives, and then I can see why I get confused for that because the eyes and the high cheekbones. Like,
I just see Korean girl when I see you.
Yeah, but I also have to explain to people that being Latin is not a race because everybody's like, oh no, I'm Latin, like that's my race. No, because there is still a lot of anti-Blackness in the Latin American community, and they don't like to identify as white. But they denounce anybody who is Black. And they just be like, oh no, I'm whatever country I'm from.
And that's the problem with colonialism, imperialism. Like, it's all steeped in racism because it's the same. You have the same issues with Koreans. Like, I went to a Korean restaurant with my mom last year, and the lady looked at me, and she looked at my mom, looked back at me. She's like, "Are you guys Korean?" And my mom was like, "Yeah." And she's like, she looks so American, like Americanized.
Who,
like,
you?
Yeah, me. So like, and I've been told by other Asians like that I'm too white or I'm so white or whatever. It's because I'm mixed and I don't. You even have the difference between Korean Americans and Koreans. Like the way that they see each other. Koreans see Korean Americans. Sometimes they look down on them, or that, like, because they're different. Our culture, we're definitely influenced by American culture. So you run into the issue with your parents believing a certain way, and then there's their kids that are a certain way, and they're not the same. But yeah,
no, it's the same in the Spanish community. Like, I was told by a Puerto Rican that I wasn't Puerto Rican, like, even because I wasn't born there, and then like, but she knew that like both of my parents were born in Puerto Rico because I'm first generation like American, and she's like, yeah, no, just because your mom was born there doesn't make you Puerto Rican.
It's the stupidest thing I've heard in my fucking life.
I'm like, okay, but like that really hurt my feelings.
I think that's nationalism.
Yeah, that's nationalism.
That's why nationalism, like, I get pride for your country, pride for your background, whatever, but nationalism can get very, very dangerous very, very easily. Like, fanaticism is a fucking thing. And yeah, like, you're not enough, or you're the wrong thing, or what, like, that's it. And that's why I'm saying it all goes back to imperialism, colonialism, and race. Like, all that shit's tied into racism to make you feel shittier about yourself. 1, 2, to keep your own community separated.
I did feel very shitty.
Yeah, and it keeps your own community separated.
Yeah.
It cuts the individual off from their community, and then it cuts everyone else off from one another. And that literally just makes it easier for the white people, white supremacy, to continue on the way that it does. Because we're fighting each other
instead of fighting the white man.
Yeah.
No, but to go back to the difference between Hispanic and Latino, someone like I am both Hispanic and Latino because the country that my family is from speaks Spanish, which has to do with the language that the country speaks. Being Latino has anything to do with, the Caribbean, Mexico, Central and South America. Like, any country in there would be Latino. So like Haitians and Portuguese wouldn't be Hispanic because their country doesn't speak Spanish. Like, that's not the language of.
And Spanish means Hispanic.
Yes.
That's what we're going with.
Yeah. So someone from Spain can be Hispanic, but they can't be Latino.
Yeah.
And someone from Brazil is Latino, but they're not Hispanic. It has to do with like the origin. Latino has to do with the origin of the country, and Hispanic has to do with the language that's spoken.
I just call pretty much people who speak Spanish, I just call them Hispanic. I hate calling them Spanish people.
And that's okay.
Hispanic people.
And that's okay.
No.
You're not wrong.
But it's like, I don't get why people call them Spanish people.
It sucks because like it's just easy to tell somebody that you're Spanish because like you speak Spanish. They should call us English,
but we're technically not English, right?
Yes, you're absolutely right. But it's just easier, especially when like, because men at the bar, they love to be weird and creepy. Like, they always ask me, what am I? And I started making it like a game. Like, if you can guess what I am 100%, if you can guess my ethnicity, you can get a free drink. And they were always wrong.
Guess my
so
ethnicity,
funny.
yo.
Like,
that people think that we look alike.
Well, that, and I was just saying, like, a lot of, like, mainly mixed people, they can tell what I am. Like, they'll know off brick, like, that I'm mixed or whatever without me even telling them. And I don't know. That's why, like, in general, I don't identify with Jewish people or Korean people more. I personally, I always identified with other mixed people more. Just I felt like I had more in common with them than any individual side. Like, I still relate to, you know, my background, but I feel more in common with anyone who's mixed regardless of your background. Because I feel like there's a lot of similarities in our struggles, self-identity, like all of that. There's a lot of similarities across the board. And I don't know. I feel like I would be more understood by another mixed person than I would like a fully Korean or just someone who's just
I completely understand, because a lot of my friends growing up were mixed. Like, I had a friend who was half Japanese and white, and then I had another friend, their father was from Afghanistan and their mom was black. And then I had another friend, her father was Mexican, her mom was black. A lot of my friends were mixed because that is who I can identify with as well. But some of my friends are just, you know, just black, and it's fine. And like, I can also identify with them, but like they don't understand, or they can't seem to understand everything that, like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Experience?
Yes.
I mean, I can totally see that. And that's where it comes in as an openness to understanding or communicating. Because a lot of people, they only listen or communicate just to come up with what they want to say. They don't actually care about what you're saying, or even understanding or learning or
Did you have any
whatever.
like fully Asian friends?
When I worked at the Japanese steakhouse, I had some Chinese. They were all Chinese.
I think I've only had like one like fully Spanish, and this is another Puerto Rican girl. She's like my only like fully Spanish friend, because every other person who I come across who speaks Spanish, like, they always tell me that I'm not really Spanish.
I mean,
and I think it's like, and the kitchen does that to me too, and like, it's annoying. And I think it's because Puerto Ricans are U.S. citizens, like, so they don't really consider me Hispanic or Latino because I have papers. So like, I don't.
That's the thing. Everyone's struggle is different. Everyone's experiences are different, and how we self-identify is literally that. Self-identification has nothing to do with anyone else. Like, I've had multiple people tell me, this was before they knew I was gay, but like, don't marry a black guy. I was like, why? They're like, because your kids, think about the kids. And I'm like, but what is that supposed to mean? They're like, you know, think about the kids, they're going to be mixed. I'm like, I'm mixed, so what the fuck are you saying? They're like, exactly. And I'm like, these are people that like actually care about me and shit like that. And I'm like, no,
they do not care about you.
Fucked upness of what you're saying right now.
They do not care about you.
I mean, that's like the main thing that comes with it. That's crazy to me, that every single culture is like against black people.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy to me. And that's, I mean, like, me, obviously, we all know the struggles of being a black person in society. So like, I don't really want to even talk about my struggles. We all know our struggles. But like, I think hearing about other culture struggles and like how they identify and it's how it's hard for them is like a lot more important too as well, you know? Like, if black people, I think, understood that other people struggle just as them, society would be so much better, because it's pushed back on both sides.
Yeah,
it's black people not wanting to accept other people are, you know, what I'm trying to say, experience racism and prejudice and everything. And also, but then it's like the other side is like, black people are, you know, need to get over it, or, you know, it's like,
well, that's the other thing, like within the different minority groups and everything as well, they're always like, you know, I think the way that they see themselves is close to white or better. They might know that they're not white, but it's close enough that they're better than black people or whatever. And, you know, obviously that's the wrong thing. Like, I don't know. Because I'm speaking as like from an Asian perspective. Like the docu-series called Ugly Delicious, immigration was like heavily a topic. It's a food show, but they mixed immigration and culture into the show and talking about it. And he's speaking with like another Korean American, and he's like, you know, he was for, you know, all the detention centers and all of this shit, like all the Trump anti-immigration shit, he was all for. And he's like, and the guy asked him, he's like, why? And it's like, you know, my mom, she came here, she did everything the right way, blah, blah, blah. They just need to do it the right way. And I'm like, your mom had that opportunity, though. My mom had the opportunity. Like, that's why all the shit that happened in Korea, like, she fought, you know, another bitch for my dad. Like, that was their meal ticket to America. Like, it's not easy for certain people. Like, even Asians, they don't want us unless we're you know, the physicists, the mathematicians, the scientists, the smart ones. That's the ones that they want, and that's why there's the stereotype that we're all smart, because those were the only ones that they'll easily let into the country. Yeah, like I know plenty of people who are not here legally, of like Chinese, Thai, you know, what Hispanic, like. Plenty of different countries.
I'm glad that you said that, because a lot of people, when they think of like illegal immigrants, they only think about like Spanish people.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Hispanic people. Yeah, yes. And it's not. It's literally, I have known
everyone said that the detention centers it's mainly Hispanic people, Haitian people, and like Cambodian and like
Southeast Asians.
Yeah, like the Southeast Asians. And I'm like, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, immigration is targeted towards obviously Hispanics, like
people of color.
People of color.
People of color. Like, let's just be honest. It's people of color.
Yes.
But I mean, like, but I feel like Chinese and like, you know, Japanese, Koreans, like I feel like they're targeted at a certain extent. You know, I don't think people are looking at them as being illegal immigrants, but I do
think if they get caught up though, then they go after them, because a lot of the Koreans that have been deported, they got caught up on drugs or something, and I'm gonna
rephrase what I've said: colored skin, and I don't mean like your colored skin. I mean like our colored skin.
Yeah, no, obviously.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of then that's the thing we always talk about too. Like a lot of Asian Americans want to identify as white, and they want to be put into this category that we're not a minority. And it's like, in all reality, you are a minority as well. People only want you for a certain, you know, aesthetic. You know, they don't just want you for you being a human. Like, you're looked at as like a pet, a caricature as well in society.
Yeah, the number of people, if I had $1 for every creepy motherfucker when I worked at the Japanese steakhouse that said something about Asian women, I swear to God, I would not be working. Like, so many, like, so ridiculous. And the most common one,
we would be rich as hell.
The most common one is, I love how quiet,
like disciplined,
that Asian women are. And I'm like, I looked over at like my one friend, looked over at my other friend. I'm like, have you ever seen these two bitches mad? Like, fuck no, do not piss them off. Like, no. That is the biggest lie I've ever. You see my mom mad? Like, no.
I would love to meet your mom.
Stories you said.
I would love to meet your mom.
The thing is, the one chick, she did like, it's a cultural thing. It's a cultural thing to be, you know, timid, quiet, or whatever. Like, the one friend who got angry the way she did said I needed to be more ladylike. And I was like, what? She's like, you're just too loud. You need to be quiet. Like, you know, prim, blah, blah, cutesy, like, blah, blah, blah. It's a cultural thing. But I'm like, no, fuck that. Like, culture is not going to determine my personality.
I mean, but that's why Black women are looked at as being aggressive, as being too much. And it's like, no. Women, like, this society standard of women having to be quiet, having to not...
I don't know
her. Shut the fuck up.
I don't know her.
I'm my fucking mind.
I don't know her.
There's also the frustration, too, of being... like a non-white woman, and then there's the different levels of racism you experience as well. And it just gets worse the darker your skin is. So you get like understand how people feel. Like, if you understand where they're coming from, maybe you understand why they're getting so upset, or why, like, you know, that yes, they are upset, but do you see the ridiculousness of what you're saying right now? Like,
yo, the video that just went viral about the lady getting arrested in the bank, the white lady for not wearing a mask.
No, she was screaming police brutality.
And they were like, everyone in the bank was like, no, it's not. No, that's not police brutality. Like, shut the fuck up, Karen. Like, pretty much, like, everyone was like, no, what are you talking about? Not police brutality.
Yeah.
And she was being so, and I know she wanted to say, you're treating me like those black people. I know she wanted, I know the white guy said it, yeah. And that one went, but I know that's what she wanted to say.
Wait, the white privilege?
There was this one guy who was a guy who was getting arrested at the airport, and he was like,
"You're treating me like those black people."
Yeah.
Why are you treating me like a black person?
This was a white guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Shouting it.
Like grown ass, like
man,
50s.
Yeah, 40s,
Yo,
50s for sure.
I saw this video, this was probably 6 months ago, of a white guy yelling at another white guy, white privilege.
White on white crime. I love to see it.
Yo, are you serious? He's like, that's white privilege, you fucking asshole.
Remember that Facebook thing I told you about? The guy.
Oh, yeah.
This guy, this one woman was like, hey, our Ring camera caught someone stealing our package. If anyone has any, like, in like a community group on Facebook. Mm-hmm. And this one guy said, you posting this and calling the cops is you're using your white privilege to get a person of color in trouble for just, doing something that, maybe they needed to do. Like, why even call the cops? It's a package. You can replace it, blah, blah, blah. That's pretty much what he said.
One, that's assuming that the person that sold the package is not white.
And that's what everyone's trying to say. But you're going to assume that this is a person of color automatically? And he was like, well, I mean, you can obviously see. And they're like, no, his whole face is covered. You can't see shit. So, like, this was a white guy attacking another white guy, like, calling it out. And then this one person said, I love watching this white on white crime. And I was like, yo, I'm dead. I'm dead.
God.
Yes.
So
I feel like that's what white people need to do to each other. Y'all need to call each other
out.
You need to call each other out. And, like, everyone, it's like, literally, we need, like, even with, like, I'm just saying, like, Asian Americans, like, we need to be calling each other out as well. Because, like, that's a huge part of the problem. Like, that's how you heal. You communicate and you understand and you actually work together, not against each other.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's why Fred Hampton was trying to tell y'all.
Accountability.
Work together, baby. We're better as one than as little groups trying to fight white supremacy, because that is the main, devil in all of this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the Asian Americans really got into the civil rights movement.
That white devil.
Like a lot of shit got done when you had all the minorities working together. Mm-hmm. Back in the 60s, you had everyone working together.
And
that's what needs to happen again. Like we can't forget. Like I feel like we get comfortable. Like the Asians got comfortable. Like okay,
we're accepted. We're
here now. But because it wasn't until the 60s that they let them back into the country. But I'm like, but it's still only a certain kind. Like you have to be privileged to be able, even in those countries, to be able to go to college to get that education. Like.
And like that's also in the Hispanic community as well. Like you only have the white passing Hispanics who come into the country very easily, not doing it the right way, but they check out all the boxes that America wants their
citizens to be.
Well, yes, they're citizens. They're like what's the word I'm looking for?
Representation. Like you can come into this country because you represent what we want.
Here is the Hispanic community. He is a doctor, blonde hair, blue eyes. Like no, like
you know how many Germans moved to South America after World War II?
They moved to Argentina, and Argentina's like the whitest.
Yeah, there's this one town,
Hispanic country.
There's this one town, like they have a lot of twins, a lot of blonde hair, blue eyed people, and it was a German scientist had run away there. I'm like, yo, that motherfucker was definitely doing some gene testing.
I'm not surprised, but I feel like somebody's gonna be in the comments talking about we're not white. Okay,
what?
Shut your ass up, because Hispanic don't like to say that they're white.
But I mean, race was created by America.
Yeah,
America was supposed to be the melting pot for everybody, but it really wasn't.
That's
not what they wanted.
They want you
reality.
to have the label so they can be like, okay, we don't want you.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
but they're the ones who created white and black. Like no one was considered a color until America. You were English. You were British. You were Irish. You were Puerto Rican, you were Mexican, like that.
You weren't Puerto Rican.
I mean, they weren't. Okay, but you know what I'm trying to say.
I'm just saying. I wasn't Puerto Rican.
Okay, America. All right, you were Nigerian.
I was Taino or Nigerian or Spanish.
A Spaniard.
No, I was a colonizer.
We were somewhere in Europe.
You're Korean. You're Chinese. You were Japanese. Like that's what you were. You were not white or black. Like I hate that we use that. You know, I wish we could all just be Americans. That's what we were supposed to be. But then we had to create our own, and we had to become black people.
I don't want to be American
because I mean,
it makes me sad to say that
it's.
I'm American.
I mean, listen, I agree with you on 100%, but I am grateful in all reality to be here. Because
I hate when people say, if you don't like it, just leave. I'm like,
I don't have any money because we're in a pandemic.
But also, like, what the fuck? Like,
every other place, I can't go in our reality anywhere but Africa. But then even Africans won't accept you because you're a Black American. So,
oh yeah, I forgot about that.
There's just so.
Your hair looks good.
I know, thank you.
Many.
Shout out to you, Nakia.
I don't even know what I was gonna say. There's just something.
It's a lot. Race is it's fucking overrated. It is. Woo! This was fun.
Well, all right, we unpacked a little bit.
You can talk about race for forever.
Don't be a dick. Moral of the story: don't be a dick.
Yeah,
okay?
don't be weird and fetishy either.
Yeah, because what about? We didn't really talk about it. But what do you think about the people who identify as transracial?
I know we're not talking about that because that's the stupidest thing we've fucking heard. No, we're not doing that.
But let's not go on that shit either. Okay, just be you.
Transracial.
Yeah,
and that
what's her name? Rachel Dolezal.
Yeah,
she
was a white woman who pretended to be Black her whole life.
Yeah, there are people who believe they are transracial. They should have been born. That they're so in love with this culture, they identify with that people. Blah blah blah. I saw this creepy ass white girl talking about how she's Asian, but she's not. And
okay.
What?
Well, I feel like you can love a culture, and
respected.
Respect. Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm just like, no, you don't have.
Like, I'm right here.
Think logically, like how.
I feel like you can love a culture, respect the culture, and
not
whatever, but still have respect for it and not say that you are of that culture
because you don't identify with your own.
Well, it's just at the end of the day, if you identify with the culture, you think to yourself, like just putting up if I want to identify as Hispanic, do I go through the same thing that Hispanic people go through? Can I say that?
Oh, there you go. Okay, yeah.
You can't.
That is a great.
So you are not that race or ethnicity.
But that's also like you gotta toe the line there because that can go towards with what you said that you can't identify as like Afro-Latina. You know what I mean? Because of her skin.
No, so
but Afro-Latina comes from your heritage and
the reason why I identify as Afro-Latina because like I know that I am Black and I know that I am.
There's some black up in her body.
Yeah.
Somebody from Africa got stopped at the Caribbeans, got off at that stop, and was like, "All right, well, I'm here, y'all. What up?"
That's my ancestor.
Yeah. What is somebody? And they were like, he was like, "Hola, papi, whatever. Hola, mami," and then it was like, "Okay, let's get it on." And just over time.
And then that's how I was made.
Yes. Eventually, it got down to 2 Puerto Ricans, but somewhere in that line. Like, yes, 100%. You can only get darker skin from darker people being in that area. That's the only way.
I mean, I've shown you pictures of my great grandmother. Like,
that bitch is Black.
Shoot, that bitch was so mean. She was so mean. But I lost my train of thought. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
sorry.
I mean,
I forgot what I was saying.
Well, I mean, that could go off of what makes Black, white, Hispanic, Asian.
Mm-hmm.
White people, I mean, America made that because there's no such thing. We were not labeled as Black or white. You are technically.
I am actually
American. I would say it's
European. Well, I'm just saying that this country. Well, you're right. It came from Europe over here. You're completely correct.
And America
because literally that's what affected how the natives were treated, how the freaking Asians were treated. Because like. I don't know, colonialism, imperialism, that shit fucked the world. Whenever
you brought that up, I was like, that's exactly what it is, though. They are the reason why. They're the ones who went out, like, people were saying how Britain or the United Kingdom, whatever, I don't know what it's called, that empire, like, whenever the whole royal thing, they still are, that small little area is still in control of countries in Africa, countries in the Caribbean. Like, they're still in control.
Became free 22 years ago.
That's what I'm saying. Like, at the end of the day, like, white people have, like, Europeans went out and put a hold onto this country and created this whole thing of race and racism and just being prejudiced. I mean, obviously there were always slaves in society, like within your own, but that was like a caste system. They still were able to be like in life in society. You know, their job was just being a slave.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yo, I gotta go let the dogs in. Somehow they ended up outside.
Okay.
Fucking whores.
Well, love you guys. See you next time.
Thank you all for tuning in.
Yeah, that was
love
it. Yeah,
you.
thank you so much for listening. We'll see you later. Bye.